Scuba Nation, it's time to get out of the house, load up the car, and head down to the fabulous Florida Keys. The Keys will welcome you with open arms to explore all they have to offer as the scuba diving capital of the world. The wrecks and reefs are in great shape and beckon your name. So join us as we take a road trip up and down the fabulous Florida Keys next on Scuba Nation.
Who is Scuba Nation? Billy C., Boston born and raised.
What are we doing? What are we doing?
Bitch and Mitch, Southern boy. And every other diver on the planet. So join us as we travel the globe exploring Mother Ocean. Welcome to Scuba Nation. One nation underwater.
If you folks are anything like me, you're in dire need to pump the brakes on the binge watching, homeschooling, and getting out of your house and getting into the water for some scuba diving. If you haven't heard by now, the fabulous Florida Keys is open for visitors again. The reefs and wrecks have not seen divers for months. I can't think of an easier way of getting there by loading up the car and taking a road trip down to the fabulous Florida Keys. Let's go.
Diving in the Florida Keys is amazing because whether you're an advanced diver or a beginning diver, we have depths to 100 feet. You can be on our reefs at 20, 25 feet. You can see the surface, it's very comfortable. Waters are always clear and warm down here. Pretty much whatever level you're at, the Keys have that for you to dive in.
It's all the shallow reef dives. You're gonna see all the tropicals. You're gonna get to see so many different colors of fish, and it's just enveloping all around you continuously during your dive.
Whether it's from Key Largo to Key West, there's wrecks, there's reefs, there's spas that we have, a lot of no-touch, no-take zones where you see a lot of life and a lot of species. The Keys are just a wonderful, relaxing place to dive. Blue Star operators were eco-friendly operators. The ecology of the Keys come first for us. We are all about educating our customers, and so that they understand what we are trying to do as dive businesses to save the earth and to save the coral and to save the oceans. All shops that are involved in the Blue Star program, we're very big on just educating and making sure that we'll follow the guidelines to protect what's out there and to keep it for future generations to enjoy also. For beginning divers to come down to the Florida Keys, it's absolutely amazing. The key that we have here in the Florida Keys is the fact that they're shallow dives. Your maximum depth is 30, but most of your diving and your instruction is about 20, 25 feet. It's absolutely beautiful. It's a very comfortable dive, a very easy, nice dive because you can also see the surface. In the era of COVID-19, the dive shops are taking special precautions to make sure everybody is safe and secure and feels safe and secure when they're on our boats. We have added additional disinfecting You will see us do it, so you will know it is being done. We do it before and we do it again after. We're also offering you to purchase mouth guards in case you're not comfortable with what we have on our rental gear. We have ones that you can put on brand new. We are also limiting the amount of passengers on our boats. The capacity levels, most shops have cut 50%. Please, we're asking that you just call ahead of time so we can get you on our boats and you can enjoy the Keys the way you're expecting to. For me personally, what's so special about the Florida Keys, I originally am from Michigan, and we came down here, we vacationed down here, and fell absolutely in love the first time we came. We ended up creating Captain Hooks, producing a wonderful dive shop. We fell in love with the people that dive down here. When you come to the Florida Keys, you're welcomed with open arms. Again, another wonderful thing about the Keys and being attached to the United States in the lower part, the lower southern part, you can all drive here. We also have many other things to do along with diving. There's snorkeling, there's paddleboarding, there's kayaking.
And so many other attractions to choose from for a day above the water or for the non-divers in your group.
No matter where you're at in the United States, you can drive to the Keys. You don't have to get on a plane, you don't need a passport. Just come down, pack up your family, pack up the kids, and come on down.
Welcome back, folks. We're taking a little road trip down to the Florida Keys.
As you're driving down to the Florida Keys, you'll realize that in the United States, this is the only coral barrier reef that we have. It's absolutely amazing, and again, I cannot stress the beauty that is there in the experience you will get when you arrive to the Florida Keys. It's just amazing.
So the Florida Keys National Marine Sanctuary is here to help protect the tremendous resources that divers love to come and explore and enjoy. And so our job is to help make sure that they can enjoy these resources, but also help us protect them. This is a national treasure. This is a reef system like none other we have in this country. And so recognizing that it is so unique, it is so diverse, we need to make sure that we protect it adequately so that future generations can continue to come here, dive, explore, and connect with these resources.
The Florida Keys National Marine Sanctuary consists of the entire Keys. The sanctuary protected areas, what we call spas for our dive shops in the area. We take our guests out there, they hook up to mooring balls, everything is protected. There is no touch, no take zone is also what we call them, and when we teach our guests, we educate them on what's happening in these areas. It's very abundant in life, it's a very protected area all the way around, and the dive shops in the area take a good stand to make sure that everything is safe and we do not touch the coral, we don't catch the fish. It's a beautiful place to take pictures, and a lot of areas are shallow so the snorkelers can also see it, and the divers, it's deep enough so they can enjoy it also.
Dr. Vaughn, tell me a little bit about the volunteerism programs that you guys do at Mote. Obviously, volunteer groups are a big part of what you do here at Mote Marine Lab.
Well, it's amazing. Mote is not really recognized by most people but we have over 135 paid staff, mostly in the Sarasota area. But we have over 1,000 volunteers that work in this organization. We couldn't make it without our volunteers.
Right.
Down here in the Florida Keys, we're doing something kind of unique. We're the only ones that are growing the reef building corals on land, inside tanks like you see here. And when we first started in the first 6 years, there was 2 of us managing 600 coral colonies. Now we've learned from some mistakes and some new technologies how to grow thousands. We couldn't do that and keep them clean without our volunteers. We now have over 12,000 corals here on land. We're producing over 1,000 a month, but it takes a lot of care for each of these, and we depend on about 4 full-time volunteers that work with us and 4 to 6 student volunteers that come and spend time with us. We don't have a lot of the herbivores in here that you would normally have that would keep the reef clean, such as the sea urchins and some of the herbivorous fish. So it takes some human labor. We have to go in and vacuum and clean the algae off these almost every day, otherwise it would get overgrown. And then that gives us about 4 to 6 months for them to go from a little tiny size, about the head of a pin when they're born as sexual recruitment from coral spawning, or from about the size of a pencil eraser, like you see here. But we actually have to use a saw and meticulously saw just 1 or 2 polyps apart, place them on here, and it stimulates them to grow much faster than normal. Wow. And they'll grow up and fill one of these discs in about 3 or 4 months that normally would have taken about 2 to 4 years.
Wow. So the volunteers, their work here is super important.
Absolutely. It's a new technology. It's a new era for people that dive and scuba and snorkel and see what's out there on the reef. We're trying to make the reef even better than what we remember it to be, and it's possible. It's a good news story.
And for people that scuba dive or snorkel, to be able to do something that helps the reefs, this gives them fulfillment. So like, how do people get involved?
Yeah, the volunteers aren't just assistants or just somebody learning to look over your shoulder. We actually have them as volunteer workers. Right. We have what we call our citizen scientist program.
Right.
That's one where somebody can actually come, spend time here, but more if they want to be the citizen scientist, where we hope to use volunteers to actually walk in with snorkeling gear and help us plant this coral.
That's an amazing
And then the public can come and actually do a snorkel tour after it's planted and really see what's going on and educated without having to even step on a boat. We're rebuilding and increasing and augmenting our existing beautiful natural reefs.
And people can help.
And people can help.
And what's really awesome about diving in the Florida Keys is the diversity of the diving you can do. I mean, first dive, we were on one of the world-renowned Vandenberg wreck. And then right after that, hit a shallow reef, plenty of tropicals and sea life. Doesn't get any better than diving in the Florida Keys.
First dive was on a spot we call the Drop, and starts around 60, drops straight down with reef to about 90, 95, and we popped out in that 95-foot range, hit a nice cool patch reef with a huge bait ball on it. Got to watch the mackerel darting in and feeding on the bait ball. It was incredible. It was an awesome dive. Plus we got a lionfish on that one, which is good. It's one of those spots, that you have different levels of bottom topography and reef structure, but also different levels of fish life and aquatic life. You've got the small macro, and what I mean by macro is the little itty bitty guys that you'll pass up and not see them if you don't look. So if you take your time and look, you have these little tropical fish that are beautiful and colorful, and if you really relax and kind of slow down, they'll hang out with you, and they're gorgeous, but you got to take your time, you got to slow down, you got to look for them because they're little. People think that you need to get in and you need to kick like a mule to see all the good stuff, that you need to cover all the ground. Well, that's not necessarily true. Some of my best dives, personally, here in the Keys have been right below the boat.
You know, Scuba Nation, when I dive these reefs, what I like to do is actually stop, deflate all my air out, and lay on the bottom, like right next to the reef. And I like those small tropicals. They'll just like, give them time, they'll come up right to you. And then next thing you know, you're covered all over with these small tropicals. You gotta try it sometimes, it's awesome.
Almost every spot down here, you've got the variety of the big critters, the little critters, the medium critters, everything in between.
If you're driving on down to the Keys and you have a whim to learn how to dive, you're driving over the bridges and you see the beautiful water and you're like, hey, let's learn to dive. If you plan ahead of time, just call your local dive shop or the one that you want to use down here in whatever area you choose to vacation in. They will set you up with whatever agency you're interested in. They will walk you through everything. You can do all your classroom work at home. You won't waste any vacation time doing it sitting in a classroom down here. We'll get you right into a pool and then we'll get you out on the ocean. You can be certified within 3 days. If you choose to take that route. And again, you can do advanced diving, you can go on to rec specialties. We can take you all the way up to dive master, assistant instructor, all the way up to instructor. All the way throughout the Keys, there is that type of training that we can do to accommodate your wishes.
We're definitely in need to help our corals right now. They need us. They're in a bit of a peril, so we need to start. The first thing that comes to my mind is buoyancy. You know, you learn it in your open water class. You should strive to master that skill. If there's any skill that a diver should try to master, it's that one. And what that's going to do, it's going to keep you off these corals. It's going to keep our oily skin from hitting the corals. It's going to keep our fins from chopping up the corals and the sea fans and the sponges and all that kind of stuff. So good buoyancy is fantastic.
One of the things that all the dive shops try to teach and educate our divers on is the fact that we have found out touching the coral kills the coral. It destroys what's out there. So we preach and teach and educate our divers and our snorkelers to not touch anything, just to look. And just looking, you can absolutely enjoy the beauty underneath the sea. And it's a whole new world, and we just like to educate so the people that are not used to the coral or used to the ocean, can see a whole different world and understand what's going on in the Keys about the coral restoration and the lionfish derbies and the cleanups. We're always trying to make the reefs nicer, and we educate people more than anything that are on our boats.
Again, you've got all the variety in the water, you got all the variety in the restaurants, and you don't have to go far, it's all right here.
So if you haven't done so already, load up the car and hit the open road to visit the fabulous Florida Keys. What we've shown you is just a scratch on the surface of what the Keys has to offer. We've been doing shows here for years and still haven't seen it all. We plan to though, and you should too. The wrecks, the reefs, the restaurants you will enjoy will make the road trip to the Florida Keys well worthwhile. For Billy C., I'm Mitch, One Nation Underwater. Thanks for watching.